Danny Kruger.
Very much indeed, Madam Deputy Speaker. I'm going to speak briefly about new clause 7, access to cash, and new clause 27 about access to banking services. And I very much support the bill. I completely commend what the government's trying to do, and it's a source of great pride that we're bringing financial regulation home as one of the great benefits of Brexit. So I applaud what the government's doing, and I appreciate all the engagement that the Minister has had with colleagues on the clauses that I'm speaking to. And I understand that there's an intention not to push new clause 27 to a vote. And I intend to abstain on new clause 7 if that is if there's a division on that, because I look forward to the policy statement that the government has promised. But I support the principle behind both these amendments. As members have mentioned, we're moving, it seems, inevitably towards a cashless society, and we can all see the personal convenience of that. I mean, personally, like the royal family, I don't carry cash around. It's only embarrassing when you're in church and the platter comes along, but that's pretty much the only occasion on which you feel the need for it. But that isn't the case for everybody, and I recognise, in fact, that if you're using a digital payment system, the operator of the platform has immense control, potentially in principle and in practice, over your life. So that is why what PayPal did to the Free Speech Union and to others a few months ago is so important. And yes, we can acknowledge that that event was an outlier, it was a rare and slightly inexplicable event. And yes, it was quickly corrected in some of the cases of those accounts that were closed. But the fact is that it happened, and that is that's a straw in the wind. That individuals and organisations with heterodox political opinions found themselves unable to operate economically because of the decision of a private company acting entirely on their own initiative, possibly under the pressure from external campaigners. It is a very troubling development, and it is vital that we send the strongest regulatory but also cultural political signal to these private payment platforms that the opinions of their customers are none of their business. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, nor are private opinions any business of the state. And this is why the question of access to cash is about more than the important issue of protecting the vulnerable, and I agree with the points that have been made on that. It's also about liberty. Just now, behind the scenes, the government and the Bank of England are developing plans for their own central bank digital currency. And again, you can see the practical appeal here. But the implication, or the threat, is that the government will have oversight of the economic activity of private citizens, something that no government of this country has ever had in our history. And so it is vital that the debate on CBDC has liberty at its front and centre. And we can all say warm words about the importance of safeguards and freedoms, but the fact is we know that if the emergency is bad enough, when the powers are available, then those powers could well be used, as we saw, I'm afraid to say, around the world, including to some degree in our own country, during the COVID crisis. And we just have to look at what the Canadian government did to those to block the access to the bank accounts of those truckers protesting against the COVID policy there, to see what can be done in a modern liberal Western country. So to conclude, Madam Deputy Speaker, it would be a shame if we took back control of financial regulation from the EU only to empower private payment platforms or indeed our own central bank. Cash services and banking services are part of the infrastructure of our communities. They are also part of the infrastructure of liberty. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And